All right. Let me just make sure everything's up and running for you guys. Let me check. Yep, looks like we're connecting. Just want to make sure that these are going before. All right, it looks like that's running some ad. Okay, good. Great. If we have some people joining us, would love to have you guys chime in. So today, yeah, we're going to be talking a lot more about Redshift and talking about, sorry if that sounds better, but we'll do there. We're going to be talking again about Redshift, and this time we're going to be diving more into using Turbulence FD with Redshift and particles. We'll start with particles and also some materials. Actually, maybe we'll start with materials. And I'll show you how to use the curvature node, because that's helpful if you're doing the rough and edges. That's a lot like, what is it, dirt and octane. So we're going to be talking about that. So the materials, particles, volumes, and if I have time, we're going to get into a bit of a little bit of projections, because I want to show how awesome I feel like it's really works very well with Cinema 4D's projection stuff. And just a heads up, later when I get down to it, I want to even start doing some broadcasts on Houdini, using Redshift and Houdini and Maya, because I use those two a lot at work. And yeah, and I've had some other people ask a couple things. For example, one of the things that I want to talk about in materials, and more specifically is AOVs or multipasses, is doing a UV multipass, because that's been they don't have that option. You can't choose UVs. And UVs are super helpful when you're using them in Nuke, because you can basically retexture stuff. So really cool that you can retexture and in post-production like a Nuke or After Effects. And I'm going to show you how you can create a totally fake UV map pass. I mean, you have to render it out as your beauty, but it works. It's a little trick that I can show you guys how to do. So if we have time, we'll get into that. So for now, let's just jump straight in. Oh yeah, I was going to say, this is my website, vfxcentral.net. Basically, create lots of like stock effects. I use a lot of these on my own projects. So we have bundles that we create, and flares and explosions and all those fun things. And soon we're coming out the crash course, which again I've been working on, and hopefully we can get this thing out to you guys sooner than later, because so many things have changed. I do teach Octane in this course, but I will be hopefully creating another course that is Redshift, Nuke, Maya, Houdini. So, hey, what's up, Polygon67? Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, you guys, let's. I want to see who's here. Just feel free to say hi. Ask questions as we go along. But let me know if there's anything wrong with the stream, or if you're not seeing anything, because I'm kind of going to be in the zone. So I'll just look over and say hey. And yeah. All right, let's jump into this. So the cool thing about Redshift is you can use the particles like X particles, and we all love X particles. If you're a Cinema 4D user, really, really cool program. I highly suggest, if you are a C4D user and you don't have this, this is a must-have plugin for Cinema 4D, a must-have. And I want to show how you can use X particles and Redshift. It's super easy, and it does a great job. So we're going to create a system and create a particle emitter. And for this, we're just going to have a sphere. Oh, you're Thomas from FB. Oh, sweet. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out. It's fun to know who's who, because all of our names are always different. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Thomas, let me know if do you have anything specific that you want to see, and I'm gonna, we can all learn together too, because I think that we need to create a really strong Redshift community, especially for C4D users. I feel like there's not as many. A lot of them stick to Octane, which I like Octane. I just feel like there are some strengths in Redshift, especially when you're dealing with lots of geometry and heavy scenes. I feel like Redshift shines. So cool. Thanks for hanging out. All right, so yeah, we're just going to create some particles, and we have to throw in some turbulence because turbulence is awesome. Oh geez. So yeah, if you guys don't know about X particles, I highly suggest that you go learn it. So anyway, let's just start making sure everything's set up. Why is it set to Octane? There we go. Redshift. I'm just gonna randomize my noise. Turn on brute force. This is just how I set up my projects really quickly. Let's see what else. Oh, your C4D Polygon says C4D Arnold user. We should do a live broadcast where you talk about Arnold and C4D and like host you and just ask you questions live, because I think that would actually be really fun to talk about Arnold. Arnold is so cool. Amazing stuff that's done in Arnold. I just don't know it that well. One of my buddies at the mill says that it's actually really comparable. So I don't know if I'm wrong, but people have said, see, Redshift and Arnold are very comparable. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Okay, so I'm just going to let me set this all up really quickly. I should have had this ready for you guys. I like to just pull this tab off, and we'll just slide it over here. All right. So, right off the bat, you hit render, nothing's going to happen. We don't have any lights, we don't have anything. So I'm going to throw in a dome light, and we still don't see particles. And that's because with a lot of these renders, you need to add a tag to it. So we're going to add object tag, and we still don't have it. So you need to make sure you are enabling, within this tag, you are enabling points. Let's see. And you can't tell, but there are actually particles in there. So that's how easy it is. Simply just put a tag on it, and you're going to start seeing your particles, and it's rendering the color of our particles. So if you go into your display in here, and I change this to, let's just say black, since that'll show up a little better. Oh, it's not even doing it. Oh, green. That's why. It's on this one. Nope. I need a refresher. It's still green. What on earth? I literally just tested this and it was working. Come on now. Alright, I'm going to show another way you can texture this, since maybe it's just stuck on that. And that background is way too weird, so we're just going to turn it off. And fix scale. Let's do this. Oops. 100. There we go. Now it's a little bit cleaner. Maybe I'll throw this down here, since I like to work in the wide aspect ratio. Again, make sure this is locked, because then if we go to different views, it won't change. Oh, Thomas, you use you're at the mill. Oh, sweet. Do you know Anthony Thomas? He did I don't know what he did there, texturing or something. I think he did a lot of texturing or UVing. So yeah, he was telling me that you guys love Arnold, but he said some people were using Redshift. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong. That's just what he said. So anyway, yeah, X particles in here is, oh, there we go. Now it's doing the different colors. That's what I thought. Maybe I just had to resim it. That's exactly why. So yeah, if you change this to random color or single color, and let's just change it to white, now it's going to display, I just had to resim it. Bam, white. There we go. So yeah, that's how quickly people are still asking about the crash course. LOL, JK, bro, GG, noob. Crash Course is still being worked on. I'm sorry. It's taking me way long because I just want it to be good. And I kind of get it. I turn into a perfectionist. I'm sorry. I'll get it done. I know it's been it's been a couple of years. So I had a lot of life changes. I got married, got a job at the Void. So I'm working at the Void doing like visual effects for them, more for their marketing team, for the videos that we put out. But yeah, it's definitely something I need to get on top of. So yeah, this is basically how you do some particles in here. And the cool thing is you can do the point instances, sphere instances, or you can do custom objects, which is so cool. So if we just had a cube, we want it to instance this cube, go in here, drag it right there. Bam, now we are cloning those cubes that easy, and it's so fast. That's the thing that blows me away about Redshift, is it just like, it seems to be very, very, I don't know, the way they integrated it. It doesn't have like a lot of its own systems besides lights and like textures. It feels like, or materials, it feels like it's integrated into Cinema 4D like really well. Like it just doesn't have as many issues working with Cinema 4D. If I do camera mapping, it'll work. It'll just work. If I like change the tag to camera map, it just, things work in here very, very quickly. Then the cool thing is we can throw in some materials on the cube, and it's gonna change it in here. And I believe if I hide it, nope. So yeah, gotta make sure that this cube is off screen or whatever, or otherwise it's gonna do some weird stuff. And dome light, we gotta throw an HDR in here because that's gonna drive me crazy. So Thomas, you're testing Redshift. Arnold's main. Okay, so they're still using Arnold because Arnold is amazing. It is pretty sweet. I've played with it. I just don't understand it as well. And actually, Thomas, I think that it would be cool to have you on and talk about Arnold. Thomas, do you use Arnold in what, Cinema 4D, or do you guys mainly Maya, Houdini? Let us know. I'm kind of curious. Let's throw an HDR. I was gonna tell you guys a little bit about my background and about like just what I do. So I worked. I've done VFX since I was a little kid. I was always doing it in like we had the first iMovie. And I would literally export every single frame out of iMovie into Photoshop and paint every frame. I was trying to do lightsabers and stuff, and I would paint over every frame, save those out, bring them back into iMovie, and create like a image sequence of how to do there. That's how I did my VFX. Later, it turned into an obsession, and I got After Effects and then Cinema 4D. And over time, it's just kind of turned into one thing after another. And then I got a job doing VFX, like motion graphics mostly, for a company. And then I quit that job after like 4 years and did freelance. So I did freelance for 4 years. And then after that, I got married just a year ago and decided to get a full-time job. So I got a full-time job as a VFX artist. So that's kind of how I came to be. And I did a lot of directing and shooting, and you kind of do everything as a freelancer. And I did actually drone operating for Cinechopper. I don't know if any of you know Cinechopper. I did a ton of drone operating, and we worked on films and commercials, like a lot of car commercials, which is super fun. And I learned a lot, and I got to work with some cool directors. But eventually, I just wanted to focus on VFX because I'm obsessive with the VFX community and the VFX stuff. Nothing like being able to create something from your imagination, and it's just, I get super excited about VFX. So I'm sure you guys are all the same. Yeah, so that's kind of my background. And now, I don't know if any of you know about the Void, but at the Void, we're doing some really cool stuff. We basically, we create stages that have all these walls and props that are in the exact place of where geometry is in the VR world. So literally everything you see in VR you can touch and feel, and we do like haptics, and we do like smells and wind and everything. If you guys get to go through, please do. And we just partnered with Disney, so now we're partnered with Disney. We made a huge announcement 2 weeks ago, and we're working on a Star Wars experience, which has been a dream come true, because we're able to work with like guys at ILM now, and I'm learning a ton. So it's been so cool to work with all of those guys and learn a lot. So anyway, sorry, just kind of share my life story, I guess, of how I got to this. But freelance has taught me a lot, and it's taught me to be quick, and I've had to know a lot of different programs, so I feel like I understand a decent amount of the process, at least as a freelancer, doing everything. Thomas says, we're using Redshift, but Arnold is mainly okay, and working in the design department, working C4D and Arnold. Oh, cool. CG department is on Maya. Okay. That's cool. Thanks for sharing. It's kind of fun to hear about that stuff. So yeah, this is basically it. And I'm playing a sim. Like, this sim isn't cached, just so you guys know. This is just a live sim. Me just live simming, and Arnold is so amazing that it can just figure it out. I'm literally pressing play, and it's simming while I'm rendering. So cool. So yeah, back to Arnold stuff. Yeah, you can just change things to spheres or to whatever, and you have control right here as well of your scale. So if you're wanting to just change things up in here and just have spheres, you can do that. And we can create some materials for Redshift. Let's say we wanted car paint on this. We just put it on our particles right there, and bam. So it's super quick, super quick, and it does a great job. The renders always, I think, in here look amazing. If you guys are just joining us, I'm totally open to questions or anything as I go along, but I'm just kind of going to be showing just the cool features of Redshift and why I love Redshift so much, because I use it all the time at work, and I've been learning Houdini as well, and I was blown away how quickly, as a new Houdini user, how quick Redshift how well it works with Houdini. So super cool, super cool. Let's throw in a camera. I always like to have my camera ready, because I always play with like the overexposed stuff. Make sure that's not. This makes it so that your highlights can be toned back. I believe this does too. The threshold. Let me refresh. Sometimes, if you have any issues or things aren't working properly, just refresh your render. Let's see. What else can this tag do on the particles? Let me see if let's do the motion blur. Let's I don't think I need to tick that on. I think if this is in here and I just cache this, so let me stop this and do just a quick cache, and we're gonna see if we're getting the motion blur in here. Let's see. Again, if you guys have questions, just ask away or say hi even. I'm just gonna build this wherever on my desktop. There we go. I am kind of curious how many of you do not just 3D. Do we have a lot of compositors watching as well? Because we can talk about compositing, which is another cool thing. in here, because the compositors in here are amazing. Oh yeah, so I think with a motion blur, we have to turn off the IPR mode, or we just have to render frame, because yeah, it's so far we're not getting that motion blur. So the lock screen in the IPR and this window and the Redshift IPR works. So I always lock it. So now if I change these views and I click here, here, this isn't going to change. But the issue is, and maybe in the community they can figure this out, this window, the Redshift render window, if I click IPR in here, so it's going to render, but the problem is I don't see where it'll lock. Like, it seems like it just keeps changing. It'll change windows. Oh, that's because I need to turn my IPR back on. Sorry, guys. So if I go in here, it'll change my view in here. And I don't know, maybe it's in here. Nope. This is like more display kind of stuff. It is kind of confusing. Yeah, I don't know why you can't lock in here. I mean, this has the nice thing about this is if you turn on your AOVs, I believe you can check these out, your AOVs. We should do that test. And you can check out your RGB and your alphas. But I don't know why you can't. I don't if that's the freeze button, I don't know. Nope. See, look, it's still changing windows. That's way annoying. So yeah, I wish they had that like little lock button right here on this. Kind of odd that it's not there. I honestly don't understand. But it looks like you can change to aces, which is kind of cool. In this view, that's way cool. I actually have never opened this, so that's a cool thing. Nice. So you can import your aces in here, your color profile aces or whatever, instead of being on sRGB. But if you're doing, from what I've read on some of the forums, people have talked about, like Steve Corman, I think that's how you say his name. He talks about he just will do a beauty pass that is aces. But if you're doing multi-pass rendering, a lot of people do linear. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's just what I understand. Anyway, so this render window, it looks nicer but it doesn't do that lock. It doesn't lock screen. Oh no, guys. I think it just crashed. Yep. Huh. I overwhelmed it. Too many windows. Let's just reboot. Yeah, I know my desktop's kind of a nightmare. Well, it's booting up. I actually was going to show you guys on my Vimeo. So this is at the Void, this is something I did recently. I don't know if that's too loud. So yeah, I did all the compositing, all the projections, I did all the matte painting. That shot was pretty crazy because it was actually shot on the side of a hill. Where was it? This one was shot on the side of a hill, and I took out the whole hill and matte painted. And I think that little spaceship I rendered that out in Redshift. I rendered this out in Redshift because I had some volumetric lights. This was Redshift. It doesn't look the best right here. Some of the textures because I was rushed, but all the smoke was rendered in Houdini, which was kind of fun. All the smoke in that. This is Redshift. So I can show you guys how I do that stuff later, but anyway, I crashed the program. Let me fix this since my windows are all messed up now. So let's jump back in. I think we covered the particle stuff. The IPR window, though, Thomas, back to your question, it's interesting because it has some weird. Yeah, I guess we got I like the IPR window better, personally. I mean, because you can still view your alphas and your passes, but you can lock that screen, and so when you change the for view, it's not going to keep switching. Whereas the render view window, this one's kind of annoying because it keeps switching. So I wish they had that lock button on the render view window, because then I wouldn't even use the, you're right, there's no point in the IPR window at all. So it's kind of weird that they have the IPR in the render view. I just think if they just added that lock screen to the render view window, I wouldn't even use the IPR window. The only reason why I use it is because of that whole friggin' lock thing. So that's why I'm using it. So sorry guys, now this got messed up. I'm just gonna hurry and drag another dome back in because that'll got jacked. When you guys see all my files, is it just overwhelming because there's just so many files floating around? I need to be better about my like organization. It's pretty bad. I'm like, yeah, it looks good. What on earth? Oh, is it because I don't have my let's make sure our GI is all on. Brute force. Randomize that pattern if you're doing animation. I just do it as a habit. I turn that on. And I think back in here I was gonna have this. Let's turn this down. Okay, what on earth? Oh, this is the dome light. It just kind of looks weird. I don't like that one. Maybe this one was better. Yes, I like this one way better. Okay. Let's see. Can we talk about shaders, importing? Yeah, let's talk about shaders then. Let's do that. Let's just jump into that. So I'm going to have a sphere and a cube. I did talk about the round edges on the last one. So I kind of want to show that again and do roughen edges. And we're going to make this editable, and we're going to duplicate it. I'm going to okay. So I have two like objects we can work with. Yeah, let's jump into the material. So I don't understand all of these objects, all these materials, but we're going to start with just the basic one and kind of go into how to use them. And we'll do the cube first. So in your materials, we talked about this last time, but I want to go into it a little bit deeper. This is the basic one. So you have your color and your reflections and your IOR, which is your index in Octane. So if you want like super reflective stuff, there you go. And refractions, we did talk about refractions as well, and dispersion. So there's all that good stuff. Subsurface scattering, or if you want it kind of subsurfacey, you got to have a light in there, which maybe we want to have a light in to kind of give us some nice reflections. And refresh this. Maybe it's not seeing my array is just so dark. There we go. Okay, can you talk about importing image with an alpha? Okay. With an alpha. All right. I'll do my best. So images with alphas, just with like a baked in, like if I wanted to have like a texture that had an alpha on there. All right. We'll see if I can do it. And if not, guess what? We're going to learn together. Okay. All right. So I actually don't like working in this mode at all. It's kind of obnoxious to me, actually. So in the node viewer, it's so much easier to work. So we just got to plug some stuff in, and let's find an image with an alpha first. Does this have an alpha in it? Maybe it does. Let's see. Okay, let's plug this into our color. So yeah, that sign may not have an alpha. And I think opacity color, is that what it? Nope. I just realized, I'm like, have I ever done translucency? I'm just realizing, I'm like, I don't know if I've ever had like a texture that had an alpha on top of it. I'm sure there is a way to do it. Diffuse weight. I thought it would just be opacity, but maybe this thing just doesn't have an alpha in it. So let's just open this in Photoshop and check. Because I'm guessing what you're wanting is, oh boy, this is getting heavy. Hopefully don't crash my whole computer. Yeah, that doesn't have an alpha on it yet, as far as I can tell. So let me see if I can find that and be sure it has an alpha. Oh, it does. Okay, great. That's great. So it does have an alpha. All right, so that image is correct. It does have an alpha, which I thought it did. So Tom is saying you probably should have an alpha on the separate image node. Huh. Well. Oh, alpha's luminance? No. Separate image node. Maybe I haven't even looked at that. I'm just used to it being like in here. Alpha offset? I'm like wondering if if you could just do it in here, but no, you cannot. All right, so you said there's a separate. Thomas, if you could guide me in that, that'd be awesome, because I'm trying to see. I'm not seeing anything for alphas. So let's figure this out, guys. Luminance is alpha. That's what I thought it would be. I'm like waiting for this eventually to like update and it suddenly work. Nope. Should have an alpha on the separate image node. Separate image node. I just thought that would like read it. Maybe it doesn't recognize alphas in your images. Oh, so you got to create a separate alpha image. Okay. And then I plug that into the image, into here. Oh. Maybe into like the alpha offset, huh? Do you think I could like copy paste this and like plug this in, or would that even? I'm totally just guessing right now. I just want to see if magically this would work. I'm clicking so many buttons. Okay, so let's so in Photoshop I should export just the alpha. Create an alpha image from your stop sign and import it separately. Where's... I thought I could just go into like channels. Gosh, this thing is... I just want to make sure you guys can see all this. Where's my channels? I've adjusted so many things on here. Oh, there is no oh, it may be because I never created an alpha channel in here. That probably could be why. Do you think it's because I never had an alpha channel? I'm just wondering, I'm just thinking out loud. If I didn't have this alpha channel baked into the image, alright, I'll just try to export this, save this out as... I'm just going to do it the safe way. And we'll do it as a TIFF, as a copy, alpha channel, not the layers. And we'll just call this alpha. And I believe I saved transparency, right? Okay, let's see if that worked. Son of a bee, it better have worked. Oh, I think that did work. This is what we had before. And this is after. Interesting. So let's try to actually let's do like a let's like do color like layers and see if that's what fixed it. Oh man. Maybe this needs to just go into like color 1. And then we'll do a color 2. Is red. Oh man. Did it still not work? We're gonna figure this out. Nope. I really thought that this would go into the base color. But maybe it's color 1. And it would recognize the alpha. Come on. What? This is applied to alpha? All right, we're gonna figure this out. Average, add, subtract. I just thought the mask would just work. What was I thinking? Is there a different layer tool that I'm not using? Let's see. Color layer, that's it. So, and let's just make sure this one's working properly. Okay, so I see red. And Arnold, you have to say it was a black and white separate file. Maybe that's exactly what we need to do. Maybe you're right. I'm also just seeing... It's interesting because I plug this into color 2 and it's still not like, oh, guys, maybe I'm so dumb and I did not turn that on. Okay, come on now. I just was curious if it recognized baked. Hey, Venkatesh, I think I said your name right. Yeah. Yeah, right now we're kind of actually learning some stuff together because I feel like sometimes if you're just like sitting there like solving a problem, especially together, it kind of helps. We're going to figure this thing out. We're going to figure out why this thing isn't working. The color layer stuff. Okay, so that mask, no. The weird thing is, now my sign's not even showing up though. I'm gonna bring that back in because that's odd. Tom, I'll do what you said, and I will try to do it the other way and just bring it in as completely separate black and white image. I just am like being stubborn right now, and I want to see if it does understand alpha, like baked alphas within your image. Just curious. I'm very, very curious. Okay. Let me just do another color layer because I think I messed that one all up. Okay, back to 1. I want this as layer color 1. There it is. I want this as layer color 2. Make sure it's checked on. All right, so it doesn't like that. Whoa. Okay, so this is the blending between the two. If I average it, now, all right, so does that mean the blending mode? Okay, so you turn your, okay. So it looks like our blending mode's exclusion. Whoa, we're getting closer. Overlay. So these are just your blending modes, but I wish they had like a, again, the one that understood. Soft light. So yeah, you could do it this way. This is like a cheat. This isn't like the correct way to do it, because right now it's just doing a difference, which that works, but it's not the right way. We're trying to actually have an alpha matte like cut out. Okay. Let's try one more thing. If that's in the top layer and this one's in this one, and I turn off that and I do, is this going to do the same thing? Okay. Yeah, so this could be your base layer. Now it's on difference. Mask. So that's, I mean, it did it, but it's not, yeah, we're not doing this right way. This is a total cheat. What I just did is a cheat. But the cool thing is, you know, because the problem is it's, yeah, see, it's not blending correctly. We're trying to get that color in properly. See, this is a total cheat to get your alphas to work, and I don't like that. I think Thomas is right. We need to like bring it in as a separate burn, hard light. Oh, subtract work. Nope, it didn't. I lied. Multiply usually takes out all the white, so that's why we're just getting that weird color. Yeah, so we need to definitely explore the alpha in here. I'm just going to start that. I'm curious what that did. So alpha is luminance. So it's saying my whatever's bright is part of the luminance, but that would mean it would disappear. This is so interesting, trying to figure this out. Yeah, we gotta. Okay, what is default invalid color alpha? So that didn't change anything. Didn't change anything. Normal. That'll just be blue. Average. Add. Yeah, we got to find out the correct way to do this. This isn't cool. Not cool at all. Okay. Maybe you're right. We need to do the alpha. And maybe... Wait, hold on, guys. I think alpha layer mask 1. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Normal. Okay. So right now it's... Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can... Let's try invert. Because right now it's cutting out the wrong thing. So I'm curious if I inverted the mask. Oh, man. And let me turn off. So we're getting something right now, and we're on normal. So it's starting to come through. Okay. The offset alpha. I feel like we're getting closer. This is very interesting, doing this test like live and figuring something out. I feel like we're getting so much closer. Just for kicks and giggles, because I just feel like right now we're gonna put this into the bump input. Actually, I think that needs to go into like a bump map. Bump. In here, texture input. There we go. Yeah, make sure you're plugging your images into a bump map before you just plug them in. Okay, I still need to figure this out. It's going to be the death of me. So, Thomas, you're probably right. We need to just import a completely separate alpha. And that means turning this black and white. So, let me see if I can just control click, create a new layer. Do a fill and do a fill on a, let's see, deselect, fill this with black. We'll just export this. Export is let's do a save as. So we're going to create an alpha matte stop sign, call this alpha 2. All right, now let's bring that image in. Oh wait, did I just save it as a, oh no, didn't save it as the right file. Sorry guys. Save as, make sure you have it as like a TIFF or something. As a copy, I'm not gonna do all the layers. Alpha 2, save. All right, let's try this again. Here's our alpha sign. Okay, let's see if we put that into our mask. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're getting, whoa. Okay. So maybe, okay. I think my brain's starting to figure this out. Let's plug that into the second one, this into the first. But does that mean, so, oh goodness. Or do we plug this into this mask? No? Okay, let's try to invert. Interesting. We're still not getting the results I wanted. I'm gonna have to do some more study up on this a little bit more. If you're just joining us, we're just trying to figure out some alpha stuff in Redshift, and it's been an interesting experiment. So maybe let's try plugging this into our, let's see, alpha offset. You thought it was working? Maybe it was. I'm just curious why the blue wasn't shining through though. If I put this in, because I have this in color 1. Does it need to be inverted? Color invert? Did I have this on the wrong? See, that's what I don't get. It's not like quite there yet. So it's cutting it out. But I guess my question is, why isn't my blue layer underneath showing? Thomas, if you have an answer. Because it should just work if it's on normal, right? Or is it because this is off? Are you kidding me? Is that why it wasn't working? No, it's still not. Okay, does this mask need to be on this layer? Oh my goodness, I think we're there. I think we just have to invert it. Okay. Yes. Okay, we figured it out. Okay. All right, here's the trick. I'm gonna unplug this bump so it's not confusing you guys. Okay. We figured out alphas. Thomas, thank you, or Polygon67, thank you. We figured it out. What you need to do is you need to plug in your color channel into layer 1 color. Then you need to choose, like, your second layer will be in layer 2, and make sure you have that on. So layer 1's checked, layer 2's checked. Now, it looks like you need to plug in this layer 1's alpha into layer 2's mask. Yes, it removes everything else. So we're basically cutting a hole out of the layer 2, and then that's how they're blending, I believe. Now, I want to see if we plug this into layer 1's mask, it disappears. And let's try without our invert. So we had to invert our mask because I think I had my mask set up wrong in Photoshop. See, it's still not working. So it looks like, yes. Okay. Yeah, it looks like you have to plug in layer 1's mask into layer 2. Wait, layer 1's like image, its mask into layer 2's mask. I thought that's kind of interesting because in my head I would want layer 1's mask, and it should go into, hey, let me just put this into here, and that to me would make more sense. It's very odd that that's not the case. But hey, we figured that out. All right, we're going to move on now that we figured that out, guys. Great. Okay, so that's how you do alphas in Redshift after what? So the base color, maybe we could have had this, I think, in base color. And I think we could have had, let's see if I could move this around. This could be in color 1. And this could be in the color mask. Whoa, nope. It didn't like that. Or turn off layer 2. Oh, yep, that worked. It's because I had the layers below it on. So yeah, base color could be your image. Layer 1 could be the color underneath it. And to get that to mask the layer above it, you need to have layer 1, the base colors mask. If that's making sense, oh my goodness. Maybe that's something they can kind of figure out and improve on, because that's kind of annoying the way it's set up. In my head, it's not making as much sense. I don't feel like it makes as much sense as it does like in Photoshop or other things like that. So maybe some restructuring on that would be nice. I don't know. That took a little bit longer than I would have hoped. I always like to throw round corners on my bump map. And like I said in the previous stream, round corners is a great way to just kind of, it's like a lazy man's subdivision. It's just a quick way you can like round corners like that. Yeah, it is strange. And the round corners, the cool thing is if you have two objects intersecting, it'll bevel in between them. So if you look at that like corner right here, it actually like round corners the edge of that. You can turn up your samples. See, so now we have cleaner, more samples. You know, this is basically, it's just you're plugging the round corners into bump, and it does a fake. It just like smooths out edges. It's not gonna look perfect, but it's definitely a nice quick way to make things have soft edges, because this geometry is super simple. It just has all hard edges. So next I wanted to talk about, and actually this may have to deal with another layer in here. So this could all be about like color layers, seems like. So let's jump into curvature. So the curvature is going to be your it's going to be like your dirt, and you can choose convex or concave, and you will plug this into, this will be your mask. So we're going to try to do this, and we're going to make sure layer 2's on. Let's see if we're going to blend 3 layers. This will be a very interesting experiment. And let's say this one, this color we want is white. We want just the edges. So here goes the experiment. Yes, it worked. Ha! Hallelujah. Okay, so if I zoom in, the curvature node is going to allow us to do everyone's favorite, like roughen edges and stuff. It's creating this nice little rough edge, and or you can do dirt. So if you have it on concave, it's gonna, let me see if I can move this over. It's gonna just go right in this area, and that where it goes inward. If it goes outward like that, then it'll get the convex. So I'm going to put mine just on convex so you can see it a little bit better. So there you go. There's those roughen edges, because everyone likes to do those cool metallic roughen edges. And look at that. In this one material, we've mixed 3 different colors pretty quickly too. And you also can do, since we have round corners, and if we want bump on our stop sign, there is a bump map blender. And I believe if we want the base to be base, it will be the round corners. Let's just make sure that's working. Yep, it is. And if we want to add another layer, we can just say, hey, let's take the color map of the stop sign. And we need to blend between the two. So I believe if it's, let's find a reflection, a ping, so we can see if it's working. Oh, wait, there we go. It should be on layer 1. Did I plug that into the, wait, no, that is 0. Layer 0. Doesn't look like it's bumping very much, does it? Oh, I know why. We need to have a bump map, I think, in between. So we need to put our color into an input right there, and then put that one into there. That should be the correct way to do that. Yeah, I think layer 1, layer 0. Come on now. Oh, wait. Oh yeah, there it is. It is working. Let me see if I can just like exaggerate this like a ton. Yeah, there we go. Yep, it is working. Okay. Just had to make sure I wasn't crazy. So yeah, when you're blending bumps, the round corners doesn't need a bump map. So you can just plug that in. And that's our base input. So we still have those like round edges. And then if you want to add another bump, you got to make sure that you have a bump map plugged into that before you put your image. You can't just go directly into it. So bump maps before any images. And if there's specialized things like round corners, you can just directly put that in. Normal maps, same thing. Well, let me show you. I'll just see if I can grab a normal map. Normal maps are a little bit different because you don't bring images straight into here. I don't believe. Let me see. I guess you could. Yeah, I guess you could drag something in, or you can just select it this way. Let's go find a normal map in my materials folder. Oh, there's a rock. Okay, so we have a normal map, and we're going to try to blend another bump. Let's see, let's just do it into layer 1 now. And we got to turn the height. There it is. Yep, so now we have 3 different bumps working on one object, and we have 3 different textures. So we're just kind of using these bump blenders and the color layers, and you're able to do that pretty dang quickly. And I think you could even import, let's see if the weight, let's try to take this color, the alpha from the sign, and put that into our weight of the rock. Yep, so that worked. So I took the alpha of the sign and plugged that into our layer 1's weight. So now it's basically going to cut out the area, so our rock texture will only be where there's blue. And you can turn your scaling down or whatever right there. So now anything that's blue is going to be cut out and have a normal map, and the stop sign will have its own bump right there, and the edges also have their own bump map, which is the curvature. So pretty cool. We were able to just create this crazy mess. Anyone have any more questions about this kind of stuff? Or should we move on to volumes? How long have we been streaming for? Probably should look at the time and see. I don't even know. Streaming for a little bit. For an hour at least, right? So, that's some basic stuff. Oh, do you know what I always like to do, which I think everyone does, is throw roughness on the reflection. So I just want to do that really quickly because that looks disgusting. Let me just go in here, find some cool texture. Go into my assets. And we have materials. Where are they? I feel like I'm really blind whenever I'm doing this kind of stuff. These are the mega scans. I actually found where all their textures were located. I kind of pulled them out so I could use them in different ways. Oh, that's basic materials. I want to be in masking. And then they have like cool damage ones. So let's just grab this 640 texture. And oh crap. We did it. We crashed it. I should have saved. Yes, let's talk about volumes now that this crashed. Alright, I was going to throw just a nice roughness in there, but we crashed it. I think I have, the streaming going on in Photoshop open. It's not liking all the things being opened at once. Yeah, let's talk about volumes. I did some volume tests the other day in Redshift, and it was pretty awesome. It looked really nice, and it was clean. All right, I need to make sure this is always set up as Redshift. I don't know why. I think I have this like set up weird. Okay, yeah, let's jump into volumes. So we've talked about materials and some other fun stuff. Let's get into the volumes and how they work. Hopefully you guys all have Turbulence FD as a plugin in Cinema 4D. If you don't, it's okay. You could have someone else do some fluid sims and Houdini, bring those in, and we have to make sure we set up our materials, because that's the main thing with Redshift is you have to have the volume material and you have to assign it to its attributes. So let's do that. Let's just create like an emitter off this dude. And we go into plugins. I'm going to pull this thing out too. Anytime I use a lot of tools, oops, let's not do that. Let's just put it on the side. I like to just like have everything out. No, I'm not going to download the new one right now. So you need to create a container. And then this needs a, wow, did my whole thing get shifted? Oh, sorry about that, guys. Let's do that. And then we need to create a tag, Redshift, or no. Turbulence emitter tag. And you can choose the radius. And we want temperature, we'll do 5. Density, we'll do 5. Velocity way. I always like to add like a little bit of force. Oops, that is not a little bit. And direction, we'll go -5. So it kind of be like pushing the emission down. And then in your container, you can choose where you want to cache it. And in simulation, here's where you do all the fun stuff. I always like turn this up to 12. This is basically, if you start getting weird stuttering between your sim, just turn that up. And we can do close boundaries, so anything below Y. So if it hits the bottom of this container, it will stop. And timing, this is like if you want it slower looking. Wind, oh boy. I guess we'll just add like a little bit of wind. Vorticity, this will break it up in the density, so over time the density will kind of make it dither away. Turbulence, just turn that up to like 15, and we'll do it through the temperature, smallest size. The turbulence, I'm just gonna make smallest and biggest. That's all I'm doing. So I'm just typing this in on pretty quick. Density, make sure you turn this on. Sometimes I forget and I'm like, why am I not getting my density? Because you gotta check it. And we'll just leave everything else pretty default. And I want to look at my density. and we'll leave this for now. Okay. I think we have enough to do a sim. Let's hit start sim. Looks like I have the buoyancy on this going up a lot a bit. All right. Let me just stop that for a second. I was going to see if I can make this go down a bit more, like so it's like forcing it down. Normal force, let's try 50. Velocity weight, I don't know. Let's just sometimes plug in stuff and see what happens. Negative 50, I want to see what that will do. Oh yeah, and sometimes if you're like just beginning to sim, it's good to have your resolution not very high so you can move quickly. Wow, quickie. Let me go to the container and turn this to like, I don't know, 8. Okay, nope, 8. Oh my goodness, 8. There we go. Yes, I wish to continue. So it's going to go a little bit faster so we can see the sim. It's not going to look as good, but I'm wanting to figure out why this isn't pushing that downward. Because maybe it has to be like plus 50? Alright, this isn't a sim lesson, and I don't know why it's not doing what I want. 20. Start. Alright. 200. Try that out for size. There we go. Now it's pushing it that way. Alright, that'll look better. Okay, now I'm going to turn my container size up, and we're going to put a tag on this. So go back into my container, and let's turn this up to 4. If you guys have questions about Turbulence FD, go ahead and ask. I'm not a pro, but I think I know a decent amount about the fluid sims and Turbulence FD. I used to use it all the time. Now I'm actually switching to Houdini for fluid sims. I don't know why I do that to myself and like force myself to learn like a million different programs. It's probably because I'm used to the freelance world. All right, let's stop that there. We're only going to go to like 40 frames. We're just using this as an example. So there's our sim. I could change my viewport viewing settings to like the smoke shader. Let me hide sphere. So there's our smoke. And what we need to do for Redshift to recognize this is in our container, we need to put a material, because that's what we're needing to texture. This is where the smoke is contained. This is just their emitter. That's just like the object it's emitting from. So let's go to materials and add a volume emitter. Drag that, put it on our container. And what this is going to ask us for is it's going to, the material is going to ask us for some parameters for it to understand what to look at, what to use as a volume. So we need to assign proper things. So we're going to add density to that. And if you wanted to, we could add temperature. Yes, I think I typed that right. Let me make sure. I'm obviously temperature. Yep. I believe I did that right. So now our emission, which is like a brightness, will be based on the temperature, and our density, or our scattering, will be from our density, or our smoke. Let's see if this is going to work. And if not, and it works really quickly. Now it looks not the best, but this is where you start messing with all your settings in here. So this is our scattering. Oh, and if we want to light this, like I've shown before, lights, let's go area light. And at first you're like, hey, that's not working. You lied to me. But I didn't lie, because we need to make sure it's contributing to volumes. Let me turn that up. And it is going to contribute. I promise it's working. We just got to, there we go. Turn up our brightness. So yeah, this is how you create some shadows using lights, like so. So now you have a nice overhead soft. And in our volume settings, we need to, in our texture, we need to fix, you can turn the scale down of our fire, or you can, what you can do is start creating a gradient based on this. So yellow, and then if you want it more orange, now we're creating some heat, and I can scale this down, scale it up, and this is our temperature it's looking at, and this is scattering, so you can turn your scattering up. And if you go into your advanced settings, you can get a little, you can say, hey, we want the we don't want the smoke to be so transparent. Well, with this you can kind of dial that back, or and then down here in your emissions or your temperature, you can dial these up or down. So if you want this just to be glowing right in there, now you have this volume like so. And let me make sure, I don't know if I turned my GI on, so I don't think we're getting any GI from that. Let me try this again. Let's see if, there we go. So now we have global illumination on. So what's going to happen is this is going to illuminate through our smoke, so you can see it scattering and hitting the back of the smoke. You also can turn your shadow density down on your smoke if you're like, hey, it's too thick. This sim obviously doesn't look the best, but I'm more trying to illustrate the how it's done. Let me just turn my brightness down. Actually, let's turn this to like a cool color, cooler color. Oops, that's too cool. If you guys have any questions about the volume so far, just let me know. And I'm going to throw a plane down so you can kind of see how it's interacting with a floor. See, right now we're getting all those bounces because we turned our GI on, so we're able to illuminate it that way, which is kind of cool. Let me turn this light still too bright. Now we're just, there we go. That looks a little bit nicer. Super noisy in here, but we could turn up our samples and when we render it out, get a really, really nice result. And if you're bringing in a VDB from whatever program you're using, I'm trying to think the best, there's a way to do this. I think you have to bring in, create like a fake container, and then let me see if this is how you do it. Object. No, there's a way to do it to bring in VDBs. I swear there is. If not, maybe that's something that they need to add. Because I'm not seeing like a Redshift volume object. Oh wait, here it is. Haha. Spoke too soon. Objects. Volumes. So if you're bringing in a VDB, you can just choose the path of it, and then you'll just add your volume material, and you can put it in that way. Let me see if I have any. I know you can get free OpenVDB files. Let me see if I have any. Actually, just use the... Do you guys have the search anything tool? Search everything. .vdb. There we go. It's in my explosions. Okay. It's in my assets. So let's do that. Let's pause this and do Redshift object volume. And it is in the assets folder. There it is, explosion VDB. Please do not crash. Okay. I'm gonna hide my other sim for now. So this is our VDB. And let me see display. So we don't have bounty box points. Let's see if we can turn the points on. Okay. Looks like there it is. We can turn up our points. Let's turn this up to like 100. Okay. There it is. So here is our volume file. And we're just going to drag and drop this tag on it and see if this will render. The one we already set up. Yep, there it is. I think this is actually an animation, so maybe if I stop this render and animation, it's on, let's just do simple. I'm just gonna see if it did have any animation in it. I thought it did, but maybe it doesn't. Detect frames. Nope. Looks like it just had that one frame. That's okay. And it has temperature and density in there. So it looks like it's just this one frame. And let's go back in here. And already I think this is looking like, I mean, that's this is like a really, really nice sim. So that someone made. So let's render. And let's play with our volume settings. Maybe we should have our emissions a little too low. Let's see. Or maybe it's just backed up. There it is. There we go. Looks like I'm cutting that off. We can make this a little bit hotter in the center. I've actually seen some people, ooh, that was wrong move. Move their highlights, like their volumes into like closer to blue, because sometimes it looks a little too goldy. But look at this. This is just a live. We are live looking at a volume. Like I'm able to rotate around this thing like it's nothing, and it renders so quickly. And again, you can mess with all these parameters. Crank that up. Turn up our scattering. The shadow density if we want these shadows to be a little bit darker. And maybe let's do like a render to kind of show you how clean it. I mean, this is the fact that I can preview around this volume this quickly and it looks that nice. It is amazing. That is the power of this tool of Redshift. I feel like it just like it can handle volumes so quickly. And the final render, it cleans up volumes better than, I have to say, better than Octane can, and a lot quicker. It just cleans them up really, really fast. So I'm going to do a quick render of this. If we just go into our settings and turn off the IPR mode. And I'm going to turn this up to what? Let's turn this one up to, we're going to do a little bit nicer render. Oops, I think I did some wrong. 340, I'm just 230. I don't know if I'm doing this right, so call me out. And hit render. Let's see. Oh, it's doing progressive render, so did I not turn it off? Oh, whoops. Okay, let's try this again. hit render. It's going to calculate the bounces. Now it's going to go through and clean it up. Dang. So our secondary bounce right here at global illumination's still a little bit noisy. We could turn that up if we want. So we got a little bit of noise, but that's not bad. Like, for how fast that renders and how clean this is, the volume itself, I wish I can zoom in a little bit. The volume itself is super clean. There's like no noise in there. The only thing that's creating noises are like secondary, like, or global illumination down here. Like, that's the only thing that really is making the noise. The volume itself looks great. And like I said, if you, you could like do sample overrides and figure out what, what's creating, why isn't it not looking better. So maybe, is that our single scattering? I don't know. We can scale it by 2 and see if that cleans it up. It could be just the single scattering, we'll see. Or no, that's subsurface, isn't it? I'm getting those confused. Yeah, I'm wrong. That was not the right thing to do. Our volumes are actually good, so I don't think it's that. It could be our light. Maybe our light samples aren't. Oops. Scale this by 2. It's current samples. And we can look at our GI parameters. It could be our brute force GI. I don't know. Either way, main purpose was to show you guys volumes, and really then once you get all your volumes in and you start figuring out, where your problems are, you can clean it up really quickly. Let's see if that helped it a little bit. Nope, still a little noisy, but that's okay. For how fast this is, I would accept that, and then we could just turn it up a little bit. Do you guys have any more questions about volumes? It's really, really simple. Volume objects, you just need the most important thing is make sure you're plugging in the parameters, your density, your temperature, or if you have fuel or if you have heat, make sure you're typing those in. So emission can be heat or fuel or whatever. And then I typically will keep my scattering as the density, because that's typically what like smoke is the density. So that's how I do that. I'm going to put this back on IPR mode. I think I covered what I wanted to talk about today, but if you guys have more questions, I'm totally open to answering more questions. Thomas, you've been awesome. Thanks for like sticking through. Thanks for everyone sticking through to the end. I know we kind of got stuck on that material stuff, but we survived. If you guys have more questions, I would be happy to answer them. I'm just I'm throwing like shiny materials on stuff now to see how this look at that though. No, thank you, dude, for hanging out. It's been good. Before I end this, I want to just shamelessly promote or show you guys some stuff you can use from my website. So, also I'm wearing this cool rendering shirt, which we're going to be selling. We have a bunch of these VFX nerdy shirts because they're fun. I wear them to work, and people at work make fun of me, and actually they envy me too. They're like, wait, where'd you get that cool rendering shirt? I'm like, oh, I'm going to be selling them soon, so we're going to be having some t-shirts and stuff. But on my website, we have all these bundles. For me, when I'm doing compositing, I like to blend real elements, like these explosions. If you mix real explosions with your digital explosions, it gives it that extra detail. We have fireworks, we have storm effects that's good for like matte painting, and flares because they look awesome over everything. So I put flares like in every project because they just look cool. And these flares are real anamorphic flares that were used on the short film Anomaly. And so I partnered with Dan in creating this package. So they have really nice textures. I think it was shot on like a Lomo anamorphic lens. So yeah, go check out those. And because you guys stuck around and you're awesome, I have a 10% discount code. So if you go to our cart and you type in VFX10, you're gonna get 10% off any of our products if you're interested. So yeah, VFX 10, and there's something else I want to talk about. I don't remember. Anyway, I think that's it. I want to do more of these. Let me know if you guys enjoyed these. Hopefully they were helpful. I want to maybe talk about later. Okay, thanks for sticking around, Thomas. Yeah, but later I want to do like another tutorial. Maybe we'll jump into Houdini. Maybe we'll do Maya and talk about using Redshift. Oh yeah, we didn't talk about hair. So we'll do some stuff in here with hair and with scattering and with subsurface scattering and just making some creepy, gross stuff. So yeah, we'll do that next time. Anyway, thanks for hanging out, and go check out vfxcentral.net and follow us and on Twitch or YouTube, and we'll be doing more of these live streams. So thanks again, and we'll see you later. Bye.